With training camp just a few days away for San Francisco, recently it appears like George Kittle just gave up a major secret on the offensive side of the ball, and that's who their starting left guard is going to be heading into the season, with him saying the following. But I'm excited about Ben Bartch because I love him as a guy. I'm just looking forward to guys taking advantage of their opportunities. And when you look at Bartch's opportunity ahead of him, he has a major one. This offseason, he signed a one-year extension with San Francisco after impressing last year, earning a PFF grade of 74.8, which ranked 23rd among all guards. Granted, this was on a limited snap count, but if he's able to carry this out throughout an entire season, he'd be a major upgrade over Aaron Banks, who did receive that massive contract from the Packers. And when you're looking at Bartch, it's like he was custom built for San Francisco's offense. He comes in at 6'6", weighing right around 310 pounds, but most importantly, he's a former tight end converted to tackle, converted to guard. In other words, he's extremely athletic. And while this athleticism is great at this point in his career, early on, all this changing of positions did hamper his development, and that's why I think it's taken him a couple of years to catch on at the next level. But now that he's caught on, he looks like he could really be special in this offense. One thing Kyle Shanahan routinely asks his offensive linemen to do, for instance, is make their way up to the second level. And on this play, on this little outside zone, all the offensive linemen are stepping play side, making their way up to the second level, with Bartch being responsible for this linebacker. And he's not only able to get there, but I want to pay attention to how he's getting there. Look at his lateral motion. He gets there, then he latches on and drives him into the floor, creating a great running lane for Deebo Samuel to run behind. And while Bartch has always been an extremely athletic player, what's really impressed me diving into his film over these last couple of years is his ability to really develop technically. Here on this play, for instance, you might think, oh, it's just him making his way up to the second level. But here, he's able to execute a near perfect hook block while running almost full speed. He flips his hips, keeps a wide base, and then disrupts his player and latches on. This is phenomenal blocking. In a similar way here, I was impressed with Bartch's ability to disengage from a double team and then make his way up to a more athletic linebacker routinely. And like I was mentioning earlier, he's doing everything technically right. Here, for instance, keeps a low pad level despite being 6'6", breaks off of his man, attaches to this linebacker, flips his hips, executes a near perfect hook block, and you can see how him and Pooney create a huge lane for Christian McCaffrey to run behind. And if they're able to do this throughout a season, get ready for another MVP level season for Christian McCaffrey. This is especially the case when you consider the fact that last year, Bartch looked a lot more powerful than previous years with Jacksonville. When you watch plays like this, for instance, he's able to double team defensive linemen routinely and drive them down the field. And when he's tasked to sole block someone like here, he does a great job of routinely flipping his hips and creating clear running lanes for the back to get behind. In a similar way here, you can clearly see Bartch has a lot more upper body strength than 92 and is basically just able to manhandle him on this play. And once again, that's why Christian McCaffrey has such a clean lane. Impressed as I was with Bartch's run blocking last year though, arguably, his pass blocking is farther ahead, because just like his run blocking, he has the ability to do everything athletically speaking Kyle Shanahan wants, but technically, he may be more sound as a pass blocker. When you're watching the screen, for instance, he does a great job of getting double underhooks, holding this defensive line player long enough for Brock Purdy to get off this pass, and then once he recognizes this play, Bartch stays running with him, and this is why Kittle is sprung. Once again, Bartch looks like he's going to be a major weapon on the offensive side of the ball. In a similar way on this play, Kyle Shanahan is once again calling a screen. But this time, it's a play action screen, so initially, Bartch needs to sell like he's run blocking. I love how he actually fakes like he is run blocking before at the last second, breaking off of his man to set up the screen for Christian McCaffrey. And once in open space, you get to really see what makes Bartch potentially a really special player in Kyle Shanahan's offense. He does a great job of moving laterally, and on this play specifically, you can see how he keeps his feet wide while moving horizontally with his linebacker, and he's able to get just enough of him to really spring the screen. But once again, like his run blocking, it doesn't really impress me athletically what he can do. I kind of expect it as a former tight end, but what's really impressive is how his techniques develop. Last year, for instance, when I turned on the tape, when he was pass blocking, I was really impressed with his hand fighting. To really illustrate this point, here going against the Bears, you can see how this defensive lineman is attempting to disrupt Bartch with a hand swipe, but Barch is quickly able to re-establish his foundation, grabs a hold of his outside shoulder, gets another double underhook, and re-establishes his foundation to give Brock Purdy a little bit more time to throw. In a similar way here, going against the Bills, this defensive lineman is attempting to pull out a hand swipe, but Barch this time is able to catch it, forces his hand back down, and gives Brock Purdy plenty of time to throw. Another thing I want to point out is how wide his base is. He does an excellent job of anchoring on every single play. Here once again, for instance, going against the Packers this time, he's able to engage with 94, then look at his base. It's extremely wide, and even with 94 trying to pull out a bull rush, he's going nowhere. Another thing I absolutely love about Barch's game is his ability to stay active throughout the play, especially in his pass protection. Here, for instance, he initially helps out Jake Brendel, but once he sees Jalen Moore struggling a little bit, he decides, okay, I can go help him out now, and does just that. Another thing about Ben Barch's tape that really stood out to me in his pass protection was his ability to pick up stunts. Here, for instance, he's engaged with the defensive lineman, but then he quickly identifies his stunt, and while I would like to see him keep his head up in the future, I think he does a pretty solid job of actually engaging with him long enough to allow Brock Purdy to get off this ball. The final major strength of Barch's game I want to mention before moving on to areas of concern is the versatility offers San Francisco's offensive line. Last year during OTAs, for instance, he was actually playing center, so if Jake Brendel struggles this season or gets injured, you could slide Barch over to the center position and bring in a player like Burford to start at left guard. And on top of that, he played tackle in college, and while I do think his natural fit is probably more of a center or guard because of his shorter arms, it is nice to have a player with that amount of versatility. With all those positives being mentioned about Barch's game, there are some areas of concern, with probably the most notable being his injury history. Almost every single year in the NFL so far, he's gone on IR, so San Francisco banking on Barch could be great if he stays healthy and is able to produce at the level he did last year, but if he's injured, San Francisco could be left scrambling. On top of that, Barch hasn't been a consistent starter at the NFL level during his NFL career yet, so he probably will struggle at least during times during his first year. I mean, the NFL workload will definitely take a toll on his body, and then it's going to test his mind. There are also still questions I have about his power. While I did like what I saw last year, once again, it's just such a limited sample, so it's hard to really base all of your judgment just on that. But overall, when I'm looking at him as a player, I do see a player that's consistently developed over the course of his NFL career, and athletically speaking, he's exactly what Kyle Shanahan and Chris Forrester wants out of an offensive lineman. So if Barch is able to remain healthy this season, I honestly wouldn't be surprised to see him be an immediate upgrade over a player like Aaron Banks, but now I want to hear your thoughts about Ben Barch potentially taking over the starting role as George Kittle suggested. It would also mean a ton to me if you could like and subscribe if you did enjoy this video. It really does help out a ton, and as always, I hope you guys have a great rest of your day.